Hi, and welcome back to Simoda YouTube channel for another episode of our podcast. My name is Harry Thomas. I'm part of the marketing team here at Simoda, and I'm delighted to be joined by our cybersecurity specialist, Bryn Hawkins. Bryn, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, yeah.
Excellent.
Very excited for our chat about all things cybersecurity and endpoint protection.
Brilliant.
So if you want to give us a quick overview of your role here at Simoda and your experience in cybersecurity.
Yeah, sure. So I'm head of cyber here at Simoda. My job role, I guess, is to make sure that our customers have got the correct cybersecurity products in place. So I work alongside our commercial team, make sure that we're giving the right advice, and then I make sure that strategically we've got the right products in place so that we can protect our customers the best way we can.
So as we mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about endpoint protection today and SentinelOne, our endpoint protection provider.
Yep.
So just give us a quick overview of what endpoint protection is and then go a little bit into what SentinelOne do.
So endpoint protection protects your endpoint. So it sounds a little bit silly to say it like that, but every system has a whole bunch of endpoints. It's probably best to start there, right? Your endpoint could be your printer, it could be your PC, it could be a whole bunch of different things, but mostly we mean workstations and laptops and the things that you would work on as an end user. And the reason why it's important to protect those things is we're interacting with them more than we interact with everything else within the system, right? Human beings interact with the endpoints. So there's a lot of opportunity for things to go wrong on that system. Where SentinelOne steps in, it has a very clever engine that allows it to sit on that endpoint and protect it regardless of the situation that it's in. So that endpoint could be operating within a network and is therefore protected by the network's solutions, things like firewalls, or it could be in a McDonald's on a public Wi-Fi, it could be at home, it could be somewhere completely devoid from any connectivity whatsoever. So we want to protect that system in all of those circumstances. It's probably less likely when it's not connected to the internet, but it's not completely impossible that something will happen. So where SentinelOne is outstanding is it's got that capability, so it can operate completely off cloud. So it operates, the main purpose of it is in and around behavioral analysis. So it understands what normal is and reacts to what's not normal. Okay. So it understands what the normal operation of a device is under each specific person. So it might be quite commonplace for Harry to go and sit in McDonald's and operate on a Saturday morning before your cricket match happens. And that happens on a weekly basis, and it knows that that's normal. What might not be normal is that same device operating at 2 o'clock on a Monday morning, in which case that thing will flag up. Same goes for the software operations that happen.
So you touched it slightly there, but so what's some of the most common threats that SentinelOne helps defend against?
It is vast. So probably the most common one that we're looking to protect against is ransomware. So ransomware is essentially a piece of software that can be downloaded. Very often it starts on an email that sends you to a website that will download, but it can be done via USB stick and other nefarious ways. What ransomware does is allows the attackers to be able to take control of the system, can take control of machines, and most importantly, usually encrypt them, lock them down. So they try to do a double extortion. So the idea behind that is these toolkits that these ransomware as a service organizations provide and provide as a service will allow them to first extract information out of a system and then lock it down completely. And the idea behind that is the organization will want a ransom, includes in the name, ransomware, usually paid in Bitcoin or some other similar non-traceable crypto thing, crypto token, crypto. I'm just trying to get that word out at all. An untraceable cryptocurrency, for obvious reasons. And then what they'll do is they'll then potentially extort a second time and ask for another ransom. So once they've unlocked based on, you've paid me the money, therefore I'll give you the encryption key, will then also extort you and blackmail you to not release the data that's offered there. And the way that SentinelOne does that in a couple of different ways, right? So it's got a very clever engine within it that tries to understand through AI what the software that is being downloaded and installed is going to do.
Yeah.
So if it's going to do something nefarious, hopefully it spots it at that point and stops it from happening. The other thing it will then do is if something does start to happen, so it's missed it at that first point of call and then moves on to things are starting to move, it will pick up back to that behavioral thing. That system, that program is starting to behave in a weird way, flag that up, and then it will respond autonomously and effectively shut it down, stop it from getting any worse. If both of those things have kind of failed and the ransomware does its thing and encrypts the PC, it's then got the capability of doing a ransomware rollback. So what we can do is centrally is roll back every system that's got the SentinelOne agent to a point where it wasn't encrypted. Okay. So you might lose some things depending on how long that portion is, but you can get most of it back. So that potentially prevents that first extortion. Okay, so that give me the pay me the ransom, or we'll leave your systems encrypted and stop you working forever. What it won't do, obviously, is prevent that secondary extortion, but potentially you can recover. Hopefully, it stops it in the first place, and you never get ransomed in the first place. If it doesn't, you can quickly, effectively rewind to a point where you weren't ransomed and at least get back working as quick as you can. There's a major cost to organisations when ransomware happens. The first initial cost is the fact that you're not doing any business. You know, we're aware of some very high profile ransomware attacks that have happened recently. They've been in the news. Everybody's aware of them. You know, the vast majority of the cost there is the fact that those organisations and those businesses just stopped working. You know, they were down for an amount of time. It causes problems in terms of earnings on at that time, but also huge amounts of reputational damage. You know, if I'm going to, I don't know, a popular supermarket and they can't provide my order, and I can't click and collect, for example, I'll go and use another. So, you know, there's a huge amount of cost that can be associated with that. So hopefully the SentinelOne product, by using the combination of those tools, will prevent it and then at least allow you to roll back fairly quickly. That's probably the most common threat that SentinelOne can help with. It's one of the most common threats across the industry as a whole. Ransomware is growing kind of exponentially at the minute. It's one of the easiest ways for cyber criminals to make good money at, and ultimately, you know, they're in that for that reason generally. You know, it's looking to rise to somewhere in the region of 275 billion in 2025 alone. It's huge.
It's something I noticed in my research list that SentinelOne talk a lot about autonomous threat detection. And as someone that I'm not an expert, there'll be plenty of people watching this that aren't experts. Can you just tell us what that means in practice?
Yeah, so traditional cybersecurity products would rely on a person to do a thing. So it might flag up that there's a problem going on, but a human would have to intervene to do something about it, to quarantine a machine or whatever else. SentinelOne has got the capability within it to be able to react based on pre-programmed, pre-understood playbooks. Now, a lot of these are already built in. They're industry standard practices. So that may be, there's a ransomware attacks happening, the machine's quarantined as part of. You might decide that if there's a ransomware attack that's happening, then you automatically set it to delete everything because you've got a golden image and you want to rebuild those machines. So you can pre-program and pre-explain to the system, if event A happens, I want response 3, and so on and so forth. So it just gives that peace of mind for IT professionals that the most dangerous times on a network is, you know, when everybody's out of the building, when everybody's asleep, because, you know, IT managers occasionally like to sleep. It has been known. Those events, and often there's an international date and time issue, you know, so a lot of these attacks are happening from places like Myanmar and Ukraine, Russia, North Korea, you know, other side of the world. So their daytime is our 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's when our IT is off. So it's really important that the system is able to respond to what's happening without having a human intervention, and that's what that automated response is. But it's typically, I mean, we can adjust it and make sure that the playbooks are relevant to the organization, or out of the box it will do certain things and take certain actions that have been standardized across the whole network. So the nice thing is with SentinelOne, quite a bit of that's built into the core product that we provide. So we provide it in 2 flavors. We've got Control and Complete. Control has quite a lot of this that's built in with it. Complete gives you a little bit extra on the post issue investigation, so we can timeline exactly what's happened. So when we're talking automated responses, the system will pick up that bad things are happening, so and issue an amount of threat to that bad thing that's happening. So if you think of it like a traffic light system, most normal things that are happening are a green light, everything's fine, right? Something that may or may not be dodgy that's happening might be assigned a yellow flag to a yellow light, and then something that is definitely really, really bad is a red light. So the whole system can be activated, ground to a halt, whatever analogy you want to use, based on a number of yellow lights or a very few amount of red lights. So it's looking at weighting kind of how risky those actions within the system kind of are, and will respond to that. Maybe we do a different analogy. Maybe the analogy is your driving tests. You know, you can have a number of minors and very few majors. So it's the same kind of idea.
Okay. So we talked a lot there about what SentinelOne is, how it protects the organisations. So let's just switch our focus now to Simoda. So, you know, say that I'm watching this podcast, I like what I hear, SentinelOne sounds great, right? I'm getting in contact with Simoda. I want to know more about it. So can you just walk us through what the onboarding process will look like for a new customer?
Essentially, there's 2 things that need to happen. We need to set up the environment in the back end. That's dead easy. We do that. We create company A's tenant. And then it's just simply a case of installing an agent on every machine. Hopefully, if a customer has a good RMM, set up an environment on our MSP licensing. And then we would work with the customer to deploy an agent on each machine that they want to be protected. That can be done through an RMM, remote monitoring and management solution. So Simoda provides that to our MSP customers, but quite often organizations, certainly that are larger, have those as their tools anyway. If not, it's a manual process to install an agent on each one. It's very quick, doesn't take an awful lot of time. It's a matter of moments per device. Once that's all up and running, we're on. We're ready to party, and ready to go. I'd say one of the nice things with SentinelOne that I found, it's a very lightweight agent. So we did a test when we first went out and had a look for the correct solution for our customers. We obviously wanted to have a look at what was performing really, really well. So we went out and had a look at various benchmark sites and found half a dozen really good endpoints from a performance point of view. But then it's also important for us because we've got quite a lot of managed customers that are sweating their assets quite heavily. So we couldn't have a solution that was really heavy on the resource side of things. So we actually performed a test where we found the oldest, jankiest devices that we pulled out of customers to replace them with new ones, and set them up and running on those and see whether they fell over. So, it's a very, very lightweight agent. And obviously the deployment of that and the ongoing running of that is kind of reflective of what that is. So it's a very quick, very simple solution. The other really nice benefit is if you wanted to flip between having the control, which is the advanced endpoint protection, and the complete, which gives you all of the threat analytics and incident response tools that you might want. We don't have to redeploy the agent, so we can just flick a switch in the background, and it does the same thing on there. So nice and easy deployment.
Yeah, very good. I'm going to put you on the spot there slightly. So,
excellent.
What can you say that we at Simoda do differently when it comes to managing Simoda for our clients compared to other IT solutions firms out there?
I don't know whether it's differently or not, because I don't know what everybody else does.
Yeah.
But what I'd say that we do that's exceptional is so we co-manage this with a company called ConnectWise. So ConnectWise provides all of our RMM service and allows us to remotely manage our MSP customers. They also provide us with a SOC. So we have over 190 analysts sat within ConnectWise that help us manage on a day-to-day basis the endpoint products that we provide. So we can provide the endpoint products as a license only. So if a customer wanted to manage it themselves, self-manage, that's absolutely fine. But we can then also provide it with an MDR back, which is a combination of ConnectWise. So they do the 2 o'clock in the morning, because our engineers sleep too. They would provide that service and have very specialised capabilities in terms of threat analysis, incident response, all of that kind of stuff that's sat within there. But then we also work in partnership, certainly for those customers that where we support their IT. We act then as the hands-on, things need turning off, turning on, whatever that kind of action looks like from an IT point of view. So we are able to do the full end-to-end. So provide the tool, provide the SOC, provide the level of response throughout the whole endpoint protection product. Which again, I don't know whether it's unique. But it's pretty damn good.
I found it very interesting, Bryn. I feel like I've learned a lot about SentinelOne today. I hope you guys watching have learned a lot as well. Just while we have you here today, with you being Simoda's cybersecurity guru, I think it'd be good if we could find out what would be your one piece of advice you'd give to IT leaders to help strengthen their cybersecurity posture.
So I can't answer that for everybody who's on the call in terms of what technology you should have. I think the hardest thing that we deal with as cybersecurity professionals, whether that's the IT manager that is having to do everything in terms of cybersecurity, or people like myself, is trying to explain to organisations and individuals that control the budgets that spending on prevention is an awful lot. Is an awful lot more cost effective than spending on cure. Budgets are always huge when we've had a cyber attack, but actually with a little bit of extra investment in the right technologies and the right products earlier on, we can prevent that big cost that comes after. And it is a big cost. It's a big cost to react from an incident response. And we've already spoken about it. It's a big cost to reputational damage, the ongoing productivity of the organisation. There's a whole bunch of areas that cost adds to. So actually, if it can be explained to a board or finance director, or if you own the business that you're in, actually investing in the right products early on is much more cost effective than trying to react to problems that happen because you haven't made that investment. And that's probably the biggest and hardest thing that we have to deal with as cybersecurity professionals, is making sure that people within organisations care enough to invest the right amount and in the right things. There's often a bit of scrimping and saving that goes on that then becomes a huge problem afterwards. So that would be my biggest thing. In terms of, if I had to pin it down to a technology, concentrate on your people.
The people are massive risk. Anyone can click on a link. Anyone can.
It depends on which report that you look at. High 90% of attacks start with an email. Start with a human interaction. So that we need all of the other technology that's sat behind, but again, looking after individuals is is a highly overlooked and highly underestimated kind of value to an organisation. So I know we're not here talking about security awareness training, but if I had to use a technology, I'd choose that.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for me is to try and express to the organisation the value in making the right investment. So,
final question today then, Bryn. So how can our viewers book a cybersecurity consultation with you?
So you can contact me on my email address. So that's bryn.hawkins@simoda.co.uk. You could contact us through the contact us part on the webpage.
Yeah.
You could email info@simoda.co.uk. You could call us on 0114 553 3600. Excellent. Grab us on LinkedIn. Grab us on TikTok.
Yep.
Are we on Instagram?
We are on Instagram.
Grab us on Instagram. Yeah. Reach out to anybody, anywhere. Yeah. It will get back to me. Anything cybersecurity, I get a tap on my shoulder and ask to join in anyway. So that's all good.
Yeah. Well, brilliant. Thank you for your time today, Bryn. If you enjoyed today's podcast, make sure to like the video. If you're not already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. To keep all business information, follow us on LinkedIn. Just search Simoda Limited and you'll find us there. Thanks for watching.